Ready? We were privileged to have John and Ruth Illman on the boat.
Marjorie. Marjorie.
Marjorie? Oops. John and Marjorie Illman. Yeah, fix that for me.
John and Marjorie Illman.
Yes.
I did an interview with her. Yeah. Marjorie Illman. She's an artist.
Yep. And Marjorie actually did her first, I believe her first kayak paddle off of the boat when she was 90 years old.
I think she's 93 or 94.
Well, she must be older now.
Yeah.
But it was so neat to have them on the boat and take them around the San Juan Islands. And I know John told me that he keeps a VHF radio on at home and listens to the traffic channel. And he keeps waiting. He chastised me for not calling into the vessel traffic system because he wanted to hear us on the radio. He wanted to hear the Catalyst calling out on the radio, and we do participate in the traffic when we're with charter guests, but when we're just family and friends, why we don't. But anyway, so it was kind of fun to know that he's there somewhere out there. There's a man listening on the radio, hoping to hear our call sign. So that was pretty neat. But their story on the boat's just a wonderful, touching story.
John was one of the chemistry students who actually lived on the boat and took care of it through several years, and met his wife was the lab director's daughter and rode on the boat coming from Seattle to Friday Harbor. And so he pointed out to me, the boat has been remodeled since then, but he pointed out to me before the new galley was put in, he said, I first saw her right there. But they got together 2 years later.
Yeah, it was neat to have them on the boat. But the thing is, I've had people on the boat. I had a gentleman and his son walk down the dock, and he was in his 80s or 90s, and his son was in his 50s or 60s, and he'd been a chemistry professor at the labs. I'm not coming up with the name right now, but in any case, here's an 80-year-old man showing his 60-year-old son the bunk that he used to sleep in when his dad, that was it, his dad was the director of the labs. And when his dad was on the boat, the kids all used to take turns and come on the boat with his dad. And so we went down into the stateroom and showed his obviously adult son the porthole that he used to lay in his bunk and look out through when he was 5 or 6 years old.
Is that Tommy Thompson?
It wasn't a Thompson. It was, I'm spacing the name. I know they have the place over. They have a place in the Wasp Island group, and I can't think of the name. I'm sorry, I'm escaped. It's gone.
When we first saw the boat, or actually Bill first saw the boat, was on the cover of Wooden Boat magazine in 2000, I believe it was. And it was through that same magazine, actually, we found out the article was written by a man who works for us now in Juneau. But through that same article, we actually came across a crew member that works on our boat that lives in Vermont, who's become good friends of ours. He saw that same boat picture and said, I want to ride on that boat someday. And so he and his wife planned a trip on our boat, and then he actually applied for a job and came and worked on our boat for, it's been 2 years he's worked on it.
We have some people that come on the boat on a whim. They're able to take an expensive vacation as an impulse purchase, which is fine, and we have other people that, like our friend Randy, who'd seen the boat and they started saving, and they saved and they saved and they saved, and it took years before they could afford to make a reservation and come with us. And it ended up working out that they couldn't pay us because we hired them. But it's kind of neat to and then we all sit together at the table. The people for whom an $8,000 to $10,000 vacation is a whim, and other people for whom it's the trip of their lives. And we all sit together, come from different ends of the economic spectrum, different ideologies, different worldviews, and we all sit and have community together. And I think if there's a lesson that comes from the boat and the whole boat experience, it's to find another common ground other than the ones we usually find. We find all these artificial commonalities that we form our communities around, and it's not healthy, I don't think. We isolate ourselves and segregate ourselves through all kinds of different means and mechanisms, and mostly because we're lazy, and we don't like to be challenged. But on the boat, we are able to form a community it's still one commonality. We're all out here on this boat together on this voyage, and that there's all sorts of metaphors and that we could pursue, but we won't. But it's so wonderful to see people that they would never imagine sitting down and having a cup of coffee together, let alone taking a vacation on a small boat. And they find themselves here, and they talk, and they find out not how much they have that separates them, but how much they have in common. And we're doing our bit, I think. If world peace is going to come from anything, it's going to come from 100,000 things just like this.
Is there anything else you guys would like to say?
Well, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who's owned her, everyone who's been there, and thanks for the inspiration because, again, for me, being able to be raised on the water, and again, talking about the teamwork, the camaraderie, everything that comes from seamanship skills and cell training, I think it's a real unique opportunity for some of us to go out into our communities and encourage that kind of youth activities as well as elder activities. It's not across the board. You need to get out, get involved, and get back our communities. Let's feel like we're all whole again, and I think we'll make a difference. And it'll come from people like us that want to get involved, and you that want to make the story happen.
And I think that we should look at the name Catalyst and realize what a catalyst is. It doesn't change in itself, but it changes things. And that's what the catalyst has done for each one of us. It's changed us, and it changes each person who has touched it.
And in our 7 seasons, we've had over 800 people on the boat whose lives have been touched, and some have come back multiple times, and others wish they could. So we feel like we've done the right thing.
Yeah, I think the only comment, when we travel Mexico, you talk about people, the Mexican called the boat the Mexican Coast Guard because we was always shepherding smaller boats that were traveling, and they'd come aboard in the evening and say in special occasions. But the camaraderie of sailors, you go from, we've had J. Paul Getty aboard, we've had on the other yacht, and Lee Marvin from all in the same discussion at the same table, saying I believe in this or I believe in that. We spent almost 3 months trying to find the most perfect word in the English language. Tremendous arguments, tremendous insight about what word would you pick. And say from all spectrums, from the smallest boat in the harbor to the biggest boat in the harbor.
The conversation's going to need some lubricant, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Boy, it opens your mind to what you think this guy on the little boat is. Is one way, but you find they have insights that come from little boats. Yeah. And the big ones have got insights that way. And to mesh is the commonality, and that's where the word really comes from, to bring together or to cause other chemical elements to come together. The catalyst.
The catalyst of us all.
So that's the inspiration, that not only the name of the boat, but the boat itself.
It is the catalyst. Nina Jasinski, I'm on a 79-year-old boat with a bunch of wonderful people who are all connected purely because of the boat, because it's the catalyst. So, Port Townsend Insider, Nina Jasinski. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.